In this video I want to talk about how to make good decisions. I won't give you tools and frameworks to use. What I will give you is a mindset that will help you make decisions with ease. So what is that mindset? It covers two aspects. One is the mindset behind what is actually a good decision, and secondly is the mindset behind the decision-making process. These two are the key to finding what is the right decision for you, given any situation you're in, no matter the time available you have to make the decision and the level of risk and impact the decision has on you. So what is indeed a good decision? A good decision is the right decision for you, given your context, the situation, the time, your knowledge, expertise, your experience with this type of decision you need to make, and so on and so forth. But more than this, a good decision is a decision that is aligned with where you are in your life right now, but also where you want to be later down the line. It is a decision that will move the needle for you, that will make you a better person, that will help you achieve what you want to achieve in life. It is a decision that will allow you to grow in the direction you want. So what do I mean by that? Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to make a decision about a specific type of course you want to take. When it comes to where you are right now and where you want to be, let's define these two. Let's say you're right now a software engineer who wants to move into the ladder towards becoming a manager, for example. You're already a very good software engineer. Technically, you're very solid. You deliver good results in your field, yet you're lacking leadership skills. So if we were to define, given this context, point A and point B. Point A is you're a software engineer. Point B is becoming a manager. In order to bridge the gap between where you're at right now and where you want to be, you need these leadership skills. Now going back to the course we are talking about and the decision about which type of course to take in order to become a manager. One would say taking a course about leadership skills and how to improve those is the right decision. In this example, the answer looks quite straightforward. But why is that? Because there's clear destination. However, let's think about the same scenario in which there's a software engineer who has a very solid background. They deliver results that are very established in their field, and they need to make a decision about a course to take. If they don't have clarity on where they want to land later down the line from a career point of view, they might go in the direction of improving their software engineer skills even further, maybe in system design, maybe in a specific framework, and so on and so forth. And yes, the course might be valuable, but yet it will not take them to becoming a manager if they don't have clarity that that is what they want. And we generally know what we want. The problem is we don't have sometimes the ability to articulate that. So we do have that instinct feeling that tells us something is off, but we cannot quite say what that is. And that generally tells us when we make bad decisions. But as I mentioned, the problem is if we don't have the ability to articulate what we want to achieve in life, where we want to be in life, who we want to be in life, all we feel is a gut feeling that tells us if something is right or wrong with our decisions. But once we do have that clarity and we are able to articulate where we want to be in life, what we want to achieve and who we want to become, then it's much easier for us to be able to discern if a decision we make is the right one or not. And if we are going back to the idea that a good decision is actually the right decision, therefore, if we have the ability to articulate where we want to be in life, what we want to achieve, and who we want to become, then that leads to us being able to make decisions in our life, because our decisions will align with these directions that we want to take towards, because these decisions align with our destinations. So now let's talk about the decision-making process. Because yes, knowing what is the right decision for us, but not knowing how to get there can be problematic sometimes. So if you think about the decision-making process, it's just a process that allows you to make a decision. It's as simple as that. However, the mechanism behind it is something that sometimes we are not fully aware of. If we think of it, we always make decisions. Every single second we make decisions. But the problem is we don't know to articulate what lives behind the decision from a process point of view. So what lives behind the decision-making process? The answer is quite straightforward. The decision-making process is just a process of gathering information and connecting it into an image that is clear and makes sense to you. Think of decisions as a jigsaw puzzle. The image of a jigsaw puzzle becomes obvious to us once all the pieces of the puzzle are connected together. If there are some pieces of the puzzle missing, then we will have to start guessing what it reveals. Sometimes the guess is closer to the reality, but sometimes those missing pieces hinder our ability to see critical information about the image. So imagine you have a jigsaw puzzle that reveals a landscape with a house and two human beings. If you're missing some pieces of the puzzle that reveal the house, you might say, oh, this jigsaw puzzle reveals only a landscape with two human beings. But that is not the right answer. And then, when you go out in the world and tell other people, hey, this is what this jigsaw puzzle reveals, the others will tell you about the house, and you'll feel confused because you're not aware of the house. Going back to the jigsaw puzzle and actually finding the missing pieces and connecting them will indeed reveal the house, and then you'll know the answer. It could have been quite easily that some pieces of the jigsaw puzzle that were already connected into the image were already revealing parts of the house. So you could have said in that moment, oh, actually there's also a house, even though the jigsaw puzzle wasn't fully completed. In a way, what I'm trying to say here is that, yes, sometimes we do have to fully complete the jigsaw puzzle, but sometimes we don't need to do that. However, the risk of missing critical information can be quite high, depending on what the missing piece of the puzzle reveals.